Alright, we gotta do this fast because every other Helliverse fan on the planet is gonna be doing the exact same thing here, and if I stick around for too long, Amazon is going to nuke me. You read the title, these are all my opinions, let's go. Already, we start off with a weird one. If the title wasn't obvious, this is a two-part song, with the first half sung by Charlie and the second half by the V's. They come together in the end for a heavenly 30 seconds, but my compliments to the chef, the V's are incredible this season, specifically Vox. It's not like Charlie's portion is bad or anything, it's fine, and the rest of the cast interjecting during the song is pretty funny, but Trust Us blows it out of the water. As much as we dislike Valentino from a moral standpoint, him and Velvet synchronizing is something I definitely need more of in my life. On to the actual context of the song, Charlie starts it by singing to Baxter about how great the Hazbin Hotel is, after it gained a huge influx of guests due to the whole Nifty the Atom Slayer bit. The rest of the cast is causing chaos, as usual, and Charlie makes it clear that she's still lamenting over Sir Pentious' supposed death. Although, as the new guests realize that the hotel isn't just about killing angels, they clear out quickly and we follow this unnamed sinner as she is approached by Vox, who starts the Trust Us section. Velvet and Val take center stage as they show off their cosmetic skills, before all three V's start a montage that shows how they lure in clients before destroying their life through overexposure. The two halves of the song then link up, with Vox getting the last word as he taunts Charlie. The song is pretty catchy, and it's the debut of a very common reoccurring theme in this season, which is how the V's dominate almost every song they're in. That being said, Trust Us is a little short, only being 80 seconds of a 3.5-minute song, and the hotel's portion just isn't as good in my opinion. Overall, for the first song of the season, it's pretty good, but there are definitely better ones to come. High B tier for me. This is my favorite of the two songs we got in episode 1. This takes place in Vox's office after he called the other V's in to reveal his ambitions about taking over heaven. It's also right before this that Vox reveals how he used to be a cult leader, so now we can look at each of his more persuasive songs as literal indoctrination into the Vox Tech cult. Anyway, the song starts out with Vox playing this fake piano as he sings about how the V's could become gods if they go through with his plan. True to the name, the V's are literally ascending towards the top of V Tower throughout this entire song. Vox's opening then transitions to a more upbeat tune as he arrives in a metaphorical heaven, singing about how the V's have already conquered hell and could easily do the same to heaven. He then returns to Velvet and Val and ropes them both into the rest of the scheme. The song then transitions to a quieter tune as each V gives their own verse, before Vox breaks the key and shouts how he'll make everyone who doubted him pay for their crimes against heaven's eventual ruler. With Val and Velvet providing backup for Vox's lyrics, the three cackle maniacally as they stand in front of the silhouette of heaven. This song is much shorter than the previous, but like Trust Us, the amazing chemistry of the V's elevates it to a much higher level than any other song in its place. Christian Borle did a stellar job as Vox this season, and his vocals remain the focus of almost every V-centered song. Overall, this song is basically just longer Trust Us, with more character development on Vox's part. A tier. Whoa, we're in heaven now, and Pentious hates it here, just like the viewers. We want more Vox. Anyway, this song is sung by Emily, St. Peter, and Abel right after Pentious' trial was concluded and he was set free in heaven. Pentious misses Cherry Bomb and the friends he made at the hotel, however, so Emily and co try to cheer him up by serenading him with all the wonderful things about heaven. The song starts with Emily singing about how everyone in heaven is kind and friendly and how it should be easy for Pentious to find new friends. She then goes on about how nobody is like him in a positive way, although to any viewer with ears, we can tell that this is not the message Pentious needs right now. The Holy Trinity then starts a montage that jumps between all the activities and the lack of crackheads in heaven before it cuts to Pentious attempting to escape back to hell. His machine fails, and Emily tells him that heaven is impossible to leave, and that he'll have fun for eternity here in heaven without his friends. Naturally, Pentious does not take this well, and Emily finally notices that Pentious isn't receiving her therapy montage amazingly. Similar to Season 1, I'm not a huge fan of Heaven's soundtrack, as they have a habit of being a bit too poppy for my taste, and I can't handle my favorite Snake Boy being so sad in paradise. It doesn't help that this song is one of the more forgettable ones in the soundtrack, and that it's immediately followed by two absolute titans, an unfortunate C tier. Remember how I just said that I don't like Heaven's soundtrack? I lied, Sera's confession is one of the top tiers. This song uses a really heavy and foreboding backing to accentuate Sera's grief, which is what the song revolves around. Sera has communed with the oh-so-wise Speaker of God to ask about how she can atone for the exterminations that she commanded. She sings about how she feels unfit for her position after thoughtlessly ordering such genocide, although the speaker consoles her by telling her how she was simply unaware of redemption, and is therefore presented with the chance to be better. Sera continues by stating how she's conflicted between letting down heaven's guard to redeem sinners, or to further exterminate to prevent hell's uprising, and the speaker continues to reassure her that those decisions were made by other angels as well, and she does not bear the entirety of the blame. She then says that Sera must atone by making her own decisions on this matter, before Sera ends the song with a heartfelt confession that she feels she must seek forgiveness. This song is really good, not just because of the excellent background music or the vocals, but because of how well it highlights Sera's grief. During one of the sequences, Sera refers to the souls as those sons and daughters, which shows how she has come to humanize the citizens of hell. Overall, it's peak, although compared to the rest of the soundtrack, it doesn't quite break S tier for me. I'll give it a spot at a very high A tier. Oh boy, we were waiting for this one. Gravity is so good that the community agreed it was peak before the show even came out. The song entirely revolves around Lute, who has been seeing hallucinations of Adam, singing about her ambition for revenge towards Charlie and Faggy. There isn't really a plot to follow with this one since it's one of the shortest songs in Season 2, but what we have is absolutely fantastic. Jessica Vosk is an amazing singer, and while some people were a little bit disappointed it wasn't a Lute solo, Adam's backup vocals flow incredibly well. I hope Hallucination Adam comes back so we can hear more of this duo. Easily our first S tier. From one S tier to another, they did Cherry Snake justice with this one. Hiss is the duet between Cherry Bomb and Serpentious about how much they missed their time fighting during the pilot era, and lamenting about how they're suddenly separated on a dimensional level. It starts out by focusing on Pentious in heaven, before transitioning to Cherry back down in hell. She sings her verse while casually destroying several blocks of Pentagram City, before the song changes to a flashback when the pair fought in the turf wars, with Cherry attacking Pentious's airship. This cycle of current day to flashback repeats one more time before Cherry gets the last word while staring at heaven. This is Pentious' first singing role, and in case you didn't know, he's voiced by Alex Brightman, who you may also know as Adam. Regardless, Pentious' vocals had me hooked from his first line, and Cherry's VA killed it as well. This one might be a little bit controversial from what I've read, but I'm putting Piss in S tier. Ignore the Cherry Snake bias. And just like that, we have fallen from grace. I'm not a fan of Speedrun To Redemption, and while none of the songs in Season 2 are bad, this is definitely my least favorite in the season. The animation is funny, but the context of Charlie coercing Angel into the scenario in front of Vox and Velvet really sours it for me. It's also one of the shortest songs in the entire soundtrack, only being about 80 seconds. The entire song is a montage of Charlie trying to reform Angel Dust in front of the V's, who are convinced that the hotel doesn't work and that redemption doesn't exist. About halfway through the song, Charlie begins to lose her composure and falls back into the whole sad about Pentious dying thing, forcing Angel to dress up like him and to repeat all of his steps to redemption, only for it to obviously not work. The end of the song is actually pretty solid, but that really doesn't save it. It's short, it's forgettable, it doesn't do anything new, and please get Angel out of there. The lowest of C tier. This one's awesome. They knew we couldn't get enough of it, so they did it twice. For context, we just got the massive reveal that Rosie is the one who owns Alistair's soul, which totally recontextualizes all of their interactions in the past and immediately leads into this song, which is about Rosie reasserting her command over Alistair after he prematurely quit the Hazbin Hotel. It starts with Alistair complaining about how Rosie hasn't been supplying him with the power they agreed upon, before Rosie cuts in and basically says, "Nuh-uh, you're my pet, go fetch." She conjures up a little theater dimension for the rest of the song to take place in, before Alistair retorts by reiterating how much he'd sacrificed for Rosie, including his power and his status in hell. Rosie ignores this and continues to taunt Alistair, making him sing his own sorrows and reminding him that she has complete control over his actions. The song ends with Rosie telling Alistair to deal with his issues himself, before Al reluctantly submits. This iteration of Don't You Forget and its reprise are definitely what made episode 4 one of the best in the show for me, and the way it casually answers such a looming mystery is very fun. However, since it does have a reprise that I prefer much more, and since this is my list, I'll give it a very high A tier, right there with Sera's Confession. This song is just awesome. It is one of the most streamed songs in the entirety of Season 2 to the point where it was even topping iTunes streaming charts in the US when it released. Charlie had brought Nifty along to her interview with Katie Killjoy for some reason, and when the interview was turning south, she brought Nifty out as a last-ditch effort to convince people that the hotel was good. Nifty then breaks out into a 200 BPM song about how utterly disgusting the hotel is, which was not the message Charlie was going for. So, when asked to help differently, Kimiko Glenn flexes her bilingual skills and switches the song to an anime art style while singing in Japanese, only returning to English when she talks about how terrible the sinners who stay there are. The song ends with a distraught Charlie collapsing in tears. This song might seem like a gag and nothing else at first, but it becomes way sweeter when you realize that all the Japanese vocals were actually Nifty genuinely complimenting the hotel, and saying that she does in fact believe in Charlie's dream despite the people she's working with. Even though the song is short, unlike songs like Speedrun To Redemption or Like You, where that fact makes them forgettable, the fact that it's over and done with so fast kinda adds to the fever dreamness of the song, so I'd say it actually works in this context. Overall, it's a fun song, the art style is great, and it's pretty funny. Another S tier. This is one of my favorite songs in the entire show, which can be easily achieved by combining Alistair and Vox. As we've already stated, Vox's performance this season is phenomenal, and this is easily Alistair's best singing role since Stayed Gone in Season 1. For context, Alistair has just let himself be captured by the Vs after they beat him in a fight, and Alistair was pointing out how Vox still needs him alive. This prompts Vox to start singing about how he's so much more superior to Alistair, before he eventually, as the name suggests, reprises Rosie's own lines about owning Alistair to demonstrate how he is once again at the mercy of someone else. Alistair points out how obsessed Vox is with him, and the pair continue to banter for a moment before Vox grabs Al by the hair and literally shocks him into submission. Vox then solos the final verse by insinuating the fact that Alistair had become old news and that Vox had replaced him in every way possible. This song is the moment for me when Vox really became a threat, as even Alistair reacts to Vox's final verse. And considering the episode that follows this, I'd call this moment the beginning of the end for our favorite Sinnerman. Another S tier. Noticing a theme yet? This is the song that opens up episode 5, and it's pretty good. The episode is all about the Vs rallying the citizens of Hell, and this song is mainly a montage of the other overlords reacting to Vox's new status. It begins with ZZ of all characters, and it quickly transitions to a big collage of all the overlords relaying the new info that Alistair has been defeated by Vox, who they all assumed was just playing up his power to the public. The focus then changes to the Vs, primarily Vox himself, who all go and formally attempt to recruit each of the previous overlords to their mission. Some of the more notable ones are when Vox finally reveals Maestro's name, his blunt proposition to Zestial, and his questionable meeting with Carmilla. The song then concludes with all the overlords singing together before Valentino and Velvet shut down Vox's maraca performance. Overall, the song is fine. It's a little forgettable, but it does have some genuinely funny moments like the Carmilla meeting and the ending. We also don't see any of these overlords again, other than Carmilla and Zestial in the next episode, so the song feels a little bit out of place. It sounds fine, but it just isn't my favorite song in the bunch. High B tier. Hail Vox Populi, S tier, moving on. Okay, just kidding, let me explain it. Vox Populi is the first of the two songs sung during Vox's rally, and this one actually cheats a little bit in this ranking because it's basically two songs mashed together, with the first one being Lucifer's verse and the second being Vox's part. This is also the song that convinced the remaining parts of the fandom that Vox is in fact a cult leader. Anyway, the song opens with Lucifer arriving to intimidate Vox, and he demonstrates his awesome angelic power without actually being able to harm Vox at all. Vox, undeterred, twists Lucifer's arrival in his favor and he uses it as a means to turn hell against its own king, leaving himself as the people's replacement for such a ruler. He announces his plan to take over heaven and uses the energy of the crowd to successfully establish himself as a king who understands his people, unlike Lucifer. He baits Lucifer into attacking him only to demonstrate Lucifer's inability to hurt sinners, before closing out the song with the crowd letting out one final chant of Hail Vox Populi. This song has layers to how much I love it. To start, the way Vox effortlessly turns Lucifer's interruption against him is a perfect representation of how he used to be a cult leader. Adding on to that, the phrase Vox Populi is actually Latin for the voice of the people, so Vox is really hammering in the fact that he views himself as the king of hell at this point. Beyond Vox's part, Jeremy Jordan's vocals with a metal soundtrack works perfectly, and the vocals themselves are chilling. I know a lot of people like Lucifer's part more than Vox, and while that isn't true for me, it's certainly a standout part of the song that we can all agree is amazing. It's so good that Vox himself recycled it for the next song, which just so happens to be... Vox Day feels more like an extension of Vox Populi than its own song. The context for this one is that Sera and the Angel cast decide to visit Vox's rally in a futile attempt to apologize for the exterminations, and after kind of rightfully antagonizing her, Vox uses her rage as a demonstration for why heaven doesn't care about sinners. During the song, Vox immediately begins by declaring war on heaven, which is already a big deal, but he proceeds to detail his plan to slaughter his way into the pearly gates, before twisting Lucifer's words against the angels and officially declaring himself as the king of hell. He then summons his giant robot shark and unleashes his own seraphim-styled demonic form, with his facial features sharpening as he literally tells the angels to run in fear, to which they oblige. This song, compared to Vox Populi, is equally good. Vox stole Lucifer's melody and lyrics and used it as his battle cry against heaven, before literally scaring a seraphim out of her angelic form because of how menacing he had become. The vocals he added radiate malice, and his positioning right below heaven is peak symbolism. Both Populi and Day get the highest of S tier. Love in a Bottle is Husk's counterpart to Loser Baby in Season 1. It's hard for me to tell which one I like more, but they're both amazing. This song is about Husk devolving back into his old habits of drinking and gambling after apparently quitting the hotel, with him returning to the casino he owned when he was an overlord. The scene opens with just this, as Husk sings about how he was never meant for redemption and that he's happy to be free from Alistair. Once alcohol is brought into the picture though, he instantly falls into his gambling addiction, jumping from table to table on a winning streak. He adds on how he doesn't need friends when he's got wine, before the song transitions to a vibrant, outline-style scene that parallels the one in Loser Baby. Except this time, it's not in a positive light. Once the sequence ends, Husk starts losing his games before he ends the song yelling about how all he needs in life is alcohol. As I've mentioned, this song is awesome on its own, but because of its parallels to Loser Baby, my favorite song in Season 1, I really like it. Also, Keith David really shows off how he used to be a Disney villain in this song, and there's not much else I can say. S tier. We went from Husk consoling Angel with lore reveals to Angel consoling Husk while in drag. What a pair of character arcs. Apparently, Angel was employed to sing a song at Husk's casino at the same time he retreated there, so Angel uses the opportunity to indirectly cheer up his friend similar to how he did in Loser Baby. Honestly, that's all this entire casino arc is, one big parallel to Loser Baby. Anyway, there isn't much of a plot to this song, as it's all just Angel dancing around the casino while directing his comments toward Husk. Overall, it's a very short and sweet song, and as funny as Husk's initial reaction is, and as angelic as Blake Roman's vocals are, it's put against some tough competition. I like it, but I feel like a high B tier is fair. Easy is the Chaggy song we were promised before the season even came out. Right before this scene, Charlie and Vaggie reconnect after a whole episode of being at each other's throats, and Charlie has a little breakdown about how the hotel is falling apart and Vox's efforts are succeeding. This prompts Vaggie to start singing about how Charlie needs to get out of her spiral and that she'll be there to support her. The song then turns into a really sweet dance sequence, with the bedsheets literally turning into dresses as the pair are transported to the realm of 16+ age rating. The song ends after this with the pair returning to reality and the sequence that just played out getting recontextualized entirely. This song is really nice, and you can definitely feel the connection between Vaggie and Charlie. I think one of the weaker aspects of the character building in this show was their relationship, and this song did a wonderful job of fixing that, especially with their incredible dance moves that you can totally tell were practiced over many years. That being said, the transition into the song was a little sudden, especially with how Stephanie Beatrice changes her voice without any build-up. It's still really good, but I do think its competition beats it just a little, so I gotta give it a high A tier. This was easily my favorite song of the final 2 episodes, and it fully centers on Vox's backstory. We get to see Vox as a human running a weather station, before the song shows off how Vox aspired to grow within the television industry, which was, unsurprisingly, by slaughtering his higher-ups one by one, starting with Nolan Grayson apparently, and ending with the owner of his entire network. Throughout these sequences, we get little intermissions from present Vox before going right back to his mortal self. This is when Vox showed off the cult he had built up before dying anticlimactically to a falling TV. The song then transitions to present Vox finally pulling off this trailer shot before he ends the song with a triumphant showcase of his hypnotic power. This song was awesome with some amazing vocals from Vox, but is that a surprise at this point? And obviously a lot of reveals about his character. For one, his heterochromia explains why his eyes are outlined in different colors. His full name is Vincent Whitman, and the falling TV that killed him is the TV he initially used as a head when he appeared in Hell. Even his voice changes throughout the song from an ad reader to a full-on televangelist. One of my favorite songs across the show, but that was to be expected with how much I'm glazing Vox. S tier. Let's go, another Penchas song. Sera is afraid of Vox's imminent uprising and she retreats to a church to pray. Penchas follows her and offers his guidance, and then we get this song. Sera can't understand how sinners can be redeemed if they ended up in hell in the first place, and Penchas explains how fear can drive people to take actions that don't reflect them. Sera then takes the two to a cloud dimension where she acknowledges that Penchas faced his fear during the battle with Adam, to which he responds by explaining how Charlie helped him. This finally convinces Sera that redemption could be the solution to heaven and hell's cosmic war, so she ends the song by cementing her plan to follow Charlie's guidance. Overall, the song is pretty good, and the more I listen to it, the more it grows on me, but it is my least favorite of the final 4. I'm not a huge fan of Penchas' opening serenade, but everything else helps it recover a decent bit. B tier. This is less of a singular song and more of a ballad of reprises and references that literally every character in the show gets to contribute to. To start, the song focuses on the main cast, and Rooster, at the hotel, with Charlie and Vaggie opening with vocals from Easy. Then all the other members and Emily join in, including Baxter for his first singing role, before the scene transitions over to Vox and Alistair in V Tower, where Vox reprises once we get up there, before Alistair interjects to the tune of Don't You Forget. Then Valentino of all people gets a short number about how he misses the Vox that wasn't obsessed with ruling heaven, before Velvet joins in and reinforces the idea that they are no longer on Vox's side. Lucifer then cuts in while being stuck in the might of Lilith, lamenting about his situation, before we transition all the way up to heaven and Lute reprises Gravity alongside Abel, who she insults about being unworthy to wield his father's crown. And finally, the song and episode concludes with one final short number by Sera, who speaks about her dread of the upcoming battle. This is a really hard song to rank because, as I said, it isn't really a song. The reprises are all really good, but with how short each one is, the song sounds a little cluttered. It is a wonder that the finale managed to catch all these plot points. It shows you what 40-minute episodes can do. Anyway, it's not something I listen to outside of the show, but it does its job of building up the finale extremely well. A tier. And here we are, the final song in Hazbin Hotel Season 2. It's crazy how Season 2 has 4 more songs than Season 1 in the exact same amount of episodes, and yet we only got one of them in the final and longest episode in the entire series. Anyway, Here My Hope is a 5-minute symphony that also practically has every character in the show singing in it. The song takes place right after Vox's defeat at the hands of Alistair, and when the might of Lilith is about to overload. Emily, damaged from a cannon blast, opens the song by channeling some of her angel power to try and destroy the weapon, but she can't do it alone, so Charlie joins in. We get some panning shots that show off how all of hell is on Charlie's side for once, before Husk joins in and helping the pair with his overlord powers, followed by Nifty. Vaggie, Angel, and the non-Overlord characters enter the song, with more of Hell's population coming out to watch. However, Lute and Abel appear, and the song changes to a cover of Gravity as Lute threatens to kill all the sinners who don't stand down. Abel is against this, and while Vaggie steps up to fight Lute, Abel gets to sing a solo verse where he admits to the audience how disappointed in himself he is for letting the situation get out of hand. This causes him to finally confront Lute, stepping into his father's shoes and causing her to reluctantly stand down. However, the effort was in vain, as after the angels left, Emily continues to falter as her power gave way. Thankfully, as the rest of Hell watched their struggle, Carmilla and Zestial stepped up to use their Overlord powers to help the main cast. This prompts the other Overlords to join in, all except Alistair and Rosie, who have a final confrontation in the background of the scene. Having just escaped her deal, Rosie is rightfully angry at Alistair, who turns the tide of their relationship and manipulates Rosie into making a deal with him. With their help, Charlie, Emily, the other Overlords, and even the remaining Vs begin to destroy the cannon, much to Vox's beheaded dismay. With one final panning shot, the cannon is destroyed with the power of friendship and the day is saved. This has a similar vibe to the previous song we looked at, with it not being something I'd listen to outside the show, but that absolutely rocks with visuals and storytelling. Getting to see all the Overlords in action again after Bad With Us was really fun, and I do prefer this song over Season 1's finale. We also get to see Alistair at the peak of his manipulative power, we get to see the Vs kind of reform, and Abel's verse was awesome. The whole product feels more like one big scene than a song though, and the whole winning through the power of friendship thing is a little on the nose. But that doesn't retract from its rank too much, and I feel like a high A tier is a good place to put it. Oh boy, we finally got all these songs done. As you can tell, our final list is very Vox-sided, but every character had at least one good moment in this show. Overall, Season 2 isn't just a huge improvement pacing and writing-wise, but also music-wise. This video was extremely hard to make because almost none of the songs in this season were bad, just some a bit more enjoyable than others. But that's all I got for you folks tonight. Thank you for watching if you made it this far, and remember, trust us with your music.